tweets up.
That's the doorbell at Jimmy's house. Now, when you come to my house, my doorbell sounds like this.
Whoa, we're right on time, 30 minutes late. So, yeah, sorry people, we had major technical difficulties today where we had to switch out computers, so. How are you doing, Glenn?
I hope the Pope realizes the determination and commitment that we show to the Holy Podcast.
Yeah, I'm using some headphones instead of the regular mic, so I hope I sound cool. But the whole computer, I'm still on 8% on this update. I restarted the computer and went into an update mode, and it's still on 8%. So I had to switch to another computer, and then I had to whole ordeal. So yeah, this was a bad one. Last week or 2 weeks ago wasn't as bad as this week. We have like 5 new people on Instagram now that follow us.
There you go.
So that's pretty awesome. We're like a success over there too.
Bingo.
I opened the account to live stream because YouTube sucks and all that. So yeah, they thought the show was starting at 4. Little do they know. For anyone,
curious.
Yeah, anyone new listening, we never start on time.
I'm curious how long before Instagram will, start to become pricks like YouTube.
They might already be. I don't know. I've been on it like a couple of days. I don't even know how to use anything but the live stream and post, and everyone tells me I'm posting everything wrong. You're supposed to post it so it disappears in a story or some crap. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Well, I can certainly not assist you with that endeavor, as I am free of that platform.
Yeah, I tried to be, man. It's just like, this is the thing. When you go somewhere and then you're missing a protest, we're like, where were you this day? Where were you this day? Well, I didn't know about it. Why didn't nobody tell me? All you had to do is look on Instagram. Stuff like that. It's like, wow. And just other stuff, too. Everybody's on there. Plus, I do photography and video. I guess they say that's the place to be. Man, if Celeb Scoder's listening, man, please hit somebody. Let us know you okay. He's kind of disappeared. We're worried about him. And yeah, Nolan needs to get better and get back on here as soon as possible, too. I talked to Nolan the other day. For those of you who don't know, Nolan Hack is like another host on the show here, and he's been kind of ill lately. And so we want him back. We want him to get better and get back soon because we miss him. And then we have Celeb Scoder does another show on People's Radio called Go Punk Yourself. And he does a lot of work with the union, and he just kind of went missing one day, and we're hoping he's cool. So yeah. Oh, real quick, you want to talk about the union real quick, Glenn? I mean, I could just go over this. The union,
sure. Because
of Celeb and some other people who things just happened and things are bad for everybody right now. It looks like it's just dropped off the edge of the earth. But I started putting them on the Instagram page. That's going to have the union there. The website's getting worked on. I can personally verify that now. It's just it kind of got dropped in my lap. If you've listened to the show before, that other people were doing it. I was so happy because I don't know what I'm doing. Look at the People's Radio website. That's like my best. And yeah, something just went wrong. Personal things, and now. Yeah, everything with the union is getting reconfigured because, I know it's not other people's fault sometimes. Well, some people I will blame. But it kind of turned into an anonymous op kind of thing where all of a sudden it was just 2 people doing all the work, and then now it's like 1 person doing all the work. When we started, there was like 25 people putting in input, and I thought at least 10 to 15 of them would stick around, But times are drastic right now. Things are going on, and people got personal problems, and there's protests in the streets. So and a pandemic, there's all kinds of stuff. So I can't blame any people really. It's just I need a couple diehard people like Celeb is. I don't know what happened to him, but anyway, that's the union. It's still it's still rolling. It's still in effect. It's going to come back. We got more missions ready to go. It's just I kind of want to get the website going so across different platforms people can go to one place to get everything. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
focusing on right now. So if you think the union's gone, it's not. It's coming back. And you know what? It's going to be as big as y'all make it because you are the union. Um, Now on to the show. Oh, and just for anyone else not listening, we also do this. We talk about our sponsors for the show every show. That's just what kind of weed are we smoking. So Glenn, who's your sponsor for today?
Today's sponsor is Dosey Do.
Nice. I have
Yeah,
What?
I was going to say I have not been sponsored by this particular strain ever before. I've heard about it, but
Yeah,
it's pretty hard to find. Yes, it seems to be a worthwhile sponsor.
yeah. Out here it's pretty easy to find. But
Really?
yeah. I mean, it was a couple of months back. I don't know anymore right now. But yeah, I'm on some Wedding Crushers Diamond Wax. And earlier I had some chocolate chip OG, so that was different. It was kind of minty.
Ooh.
So yeah, everyone listening, spark them up, and we can start on the topics now. Today we're just going to do a show, basically whatever we're thinking about that's going on. We don't have anything prepared. We've been doing that the last few weeks because stuff's crazy right now. A lot of people don't have time. Well, not a lot of people. I don't have time to sit down and prepare a bunch of topics. But one thing before I forget though, have you seen, Glenn, that a lot of like really right wing people are talking about, oh, crime stats are going up. It's because of the police morale down because they want to abolish them, or in some places they're cutting funding, and now crime rates, murder rates are going up like crazy. That's a big talking point now. I don't know if you've seen it.
Well, I mean, it's a feeble attempt. I have to say, on the bigger scale, on the macro scale of that propaganda, it's pretty skillful to turn it around like that. That's some decent marketing. Somebody at the top of the chain there is not a complete idiot. It's well crafted, but of course it only appeals to the same old fash. So, whatever. I mean, it may have good harmony, but it's still fash.
It is, because you look at it like this. People are dying. So
Yeah.
far, like over 150,000 people in this country have died. They got we got Nazis marching in the streets all over. They're killing people. They're allowed to go with guns to a state capitol and do whatever they want. Um, and then we have people that have no money because there's no jobs due to the pandemic. And then they're cutting people's money. People don't have health care. What do people? I mean, I don't remember who said it, but I think it was one of the Panthers way back. He said, dang well when you cut the welfare, people are going to do crime.
Yeah.
I think he was talking to New York mayor. It might have been Garcetti. I don't know who. Not Garcetti. What am I saying? Giuliani. Way back.
Would have been before him. Maybe Ed Koch is a good fucking guess, I would say.
Well, I'm saying it wasn't. It was like it might have been the new Black Panther. Somebody. It was
I
somebody.
see.
It's a quote. I've heard it a few times, but that's the truth, man. You take away
Yep.
people's survival skills. I mean, not skills. You take away people's means of survival, and what do they got left? They're going to do what you call crime, which is get what I need.
Well, that's such a big thing about the entire lie of the system we live in. It's fighting for your basic survival needs can be criminalized. And in a world like this, where so few have so much to, I mean, you hear about it all the time. A person of color bought a joint and they get 30 years. Like, what the fuck? But,
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite handy. The other thing I notice when they say that, oh, well, crime is just going out of control, we better not defund the cops. They never, ever mention any other times when crime was rising the same way and the similarities. Like, they don't talk about Detroit. They don't talk about Watts. They don't talk about, they don't talk about Move in Philadelphia. It's the same goddamn thing over and over and over again, but they never mention any of the previous times because, we all know what happens.
We don't want to put anything in context, right? No,
Exactly.
it's just the thing is, what are people supposed to do? It's like when Katrina happened.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, these people are looting and doing this. No, they were getting things they needed. They were taking milk, and the store would lock up they'd lock up water and milk.
Yeah.
There's a hurricane. Your store is swept underwater. Everything's terrible and crazy, but you're going to lock up necessities, locking up diapers. Who cares? Let the people take it. Those big stores are insured. They're just greedy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I bet you they claimed they lost it anyway.
oh, of course. But yeah, I mean, you can't. And then people will be like, oh, what do they need with the TV? Is not a necessity. Really? When you get home and you're stressed out, what do a lot of people go home and sit down and watch TV. Some of us blow a joint or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like whatever, but just like I heard somebody saying these homeless people got phones. How dare them? And they're begging for money with their cell phones. But cell phones are a necessity, and a lot of those cell phones are those Obama phones. They're just
Yes.
You can't take away. How are you supposed to? You better get up and get a job and lift yourself up. But how dare you have a phone? It makes no sense.
No.
And I know for a fact a lot of those phones don't even have internet capability, so you can't look for a job unless you're under Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You know how I know this? Because I'm always giving people my hotspot so they can look for things and do things. It's like there's a couple places that give people hotspots and Wi-Fi. But I do that all the time. Somebody needs it, I'm going to give it to them. If I'm going to stick around there for a while and you need it, use it. That's what it's there for.
Well, this is just the thing I'm noticing right now about the United States that is more obvious than it usually is not only is it race conflict, now it's class warfare, flat out.
It always has been. It's just out in the open now. I mean, it's always been both. It's always been both. And yeah.
But that's what I mean. Now it's being presented right up front. Now it's not just the poor black people. Now it's the poor people. And that's a change for the U.S. because there's a danger in that because then the trailer trash is starting to figure it out that they really they're no better off than all those people that for generations they maintain they are a percentage point above, so they're better than them, So that's what I'm noticing. But when you said that there are a lot of neo-Nazi activity in the U.S., which there is, but something I'm starting to see, and I think it's only going to get worse because the way the right wing works, especially in cyberspace, is to conflate things. The InfoWars method. It's, now we're seeing a lot more of COVID being used as an excuse for white, racist, stupid motherfuckers to go off on people. And it's even happening way up here. So, this is something that I think is going to be, like you said, take away people's unemployment, evict them, take their SNAP. What the hell do you expect them to do? they're going to steal
Yeah.
stuff.
Well,
They
here's
don't
the,
have a choice anymore.
well, let me say what people.
And
Oh, go ahead.
I think we're just going to see a lot more incidents where there is going to be complaints of petty theft, complaints of COVID, mask, no mask, this kind of thing.
Well,
You're always going to see a couple 88 boys in the picture somewhere. They're going to start turning up at every disagreement. There's going to be at least one of them.
yeah.
And that's not a prediction that I'm happy to make, but I think that's what's going to happen, the way I see it going.
Well, there's a lot of that. They've been attacking protesters and doing stuff. But here's the thing. You know, there's going to be somebody who's like, oh, when they said crime, they were talking specifically about murders and stuff. So, yeah. So the murders, they say, I think it went up 20-something%. And in Portland, in a month, it almost doubled. In different places. That's the one they bring up because you know why. Because there's a lot of protests. First of all, people do not protest if they're not angry and miserable. Like you know, who really goes and says, you know, it's a lovely Sunday afternoon, everything's good, we have world peace, I think I'm going to go grab a picket sign and protest and get in the government's face. You know, that doesn't happen. So people are out there because they're angry about legitimate things. And another thing, and back to COVID, and back to the murder thing. So yeah, you got these Nazis that attack and these right wing crazies that attack, and those have been a few of the murders. I don't think they've done it in a huge way yet, and hopefully they don't, because we don't want our people to get hurt. We want them just to, you know, not be Nazis, I guess, or die, one of the two. So you got people confined to their houses. Domestic violence is skyrocketed right now.
Yeah.
So you got people confined to their houses with other people in a lot of cases. And traditionally, most murders are perpetrated by somebody that knows that, you know, people that know each other. It's kind of rare for people just to randomly go out and kill strangers. That's some psycho stuff. It's usually angry or something happens or there's a you know, they've run into each other and have a conflict, like these dudes over here. Down the street here, I came late to it. I think I filmed a little bit of it, but it had happened before I got there, and the police were just cleaning it up. But the truck pulls up, starts yelling at the guy in front of him, "Move, you dumb whatever." From what I've heard, people told me what happened. So the dude jumps out and somehow stabs the crap out of the dude in this big truck. You know, someone comes to your truck with a knife in your big truck, it's pretty easy not to get stabbed. So I don't know how it happened because I wasn't there, but yeah, he got stabbed the hell up. And there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and it's because when it's hot, people are more agitated generally, and it's hot right now. You have this COVID where people can't go out, people can't, you know, do a lot of things they would normally be doing to relax and take it down a notch. And people are confined with other people, so naturally that's going to be an issue with, you know, and then add the money and some people, a lot of people, you know, you have 150,000 dead people. How many relatives does that leave that are grieving them?
Yep.
You know, that, I mean, a lot of people died or killed people because they had a bad day and somebody said the wrong thing at the wrong time. You know, I've heard so many stories of people whose close relative just died, and then they turned up and they go outside and they end up getting killed or killing somebody, or something happens because they're already mentally not right because of the death. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then you have no money, and then they're cutting your more money, and they're doing this and that. It's like, yeah. People are pissed. People are hurting. People can't get what they need. The house's population is rising and it's going to rise more. And a lot of these people out here that are like these dirty, filthy, homeless drug addicts are going to end up becoming those dirty, filthy drug addicts and living on the street. Living in your car is illegal in a lot of places. So now they're doing crime.
Mm-hmm.
It's a terrible cycle, you know, and this shouldn't be happening. This is our money, and they're giving it to the rich. They're giving it to the defense contractors. They're giving it to the military. They're giving it to all these police to militarize against us for protesting them. What kind of damn sense does that make?
Well, there's in some ways it's valid, but I mean, there's a lot of the United States that thinks that Canada is some sort of socialist dreamland. Well, no. I mean, we have the same ridiculous monopolies and favoritism up here. I mean, how could we not? You're a fucking role model. But if the federal government up here had said $600 and you have to qualify for that, and that's all you get, no, there would have been riots here a long time ago.
Yeah, they gave a lot of people 1,200 a long time ago. And what is that going to do? And they're talking about 600 a week they're going to give, and this we're giving, and all this and that. And I guess they don't do it anymore. They're cutting it for the unemployment, right?
Yeah.
And I added that up. That's $2,400 a month, right? 600 times 4.
Yep.
And then they're saying this is a disincentive. If people get this money, they won't want to go back to work. We've said this before.
The slaves won't want to go back out in the field
online
if they can get by sitting in the yard.
Well, I mean, I read online that I didn't do the math. Somebody else did, and they said it goes 40 hours a week. It comes to $15 an hour is what they're giving them for a 40-hour work week. So basically, you're saying I'm gonna be honest. If somebody can't pay somebody $25 an hour and give them full health benefits, they shouldn't be in business. If they can't pay their workers that and give them bonuses and give them vacation time, like what are you in business for? If you can't pay your workers a living wage, you shouldn't be in business. It's that simple. That should be like the law. You have to pay your workers at least the minimum they can live on, which is about $25 an hour. And you need to give them the hours. You can't be like, yeah, I'm gonna give you 4 hours a week, or how they do that. No, you got to give them an option to have full time, because some people want to work part time. So that's great. It works out, right? I mean, that's the thing. And I'm looking at $2,400. That's like less than half of what I normally make if I'm working, right?
Yeah.
So how is that an incentive not to go back for someone like me and millions and millions of other people who may or may not work in the entertainment industry, but work in an industry that's shut down right now, where they make decent money? Sorry, what?
I think part of the issue is they're trying to get out in front of it. It's the context. Because if they get out in front of this now and don't flat out say it, but imply that people are lazy and you should be embarrassed and get the fuck out there and risk your life. That's what they're trying to get across now. But again, they don't want people to connect the dots, because in Canada we have the Canada Emergency Relief Benefit, CERB, and it's $2,000 a month. Very few questions asked. If you get it and don't deserve it, we're going to want it back at tax time. Like, that's up front. Everybody knows it.
So you could even use it like a loan if you wanted.
Yeah, you could. It's probably not the best way to avoid audits in the future, but, whatever turns you on. But, okay, that goes for, say, 6 months, which it has pretty much now. And I think it's going to go a couple more months. And then they said they're going to transition everybody to employment insurance,
wow.
which is our unemployment insurance program. But actually, somebody in Canada did the research, and I knew this because I've lived through this entire time. But back in the early 80s, Canada's employment insurance, 97% of people who lost their job were eligible, and you got 75% of your wage. So that's a little more than 40 years ago. Now, only 55% of people can claim it or apply, even though everybody pays it who has a job in this country. But only 55% can apply now, and you get 45% of your wages.
Wow.
So, I mean, you know, they keep putting up this signage about social programs. Where the fuck's all the money going?
Administration and bureaucrats, right?
No, the thing is, there's a precedent in Canada about, let me see, getting close to 30 years ago now, that all these EI benefits, is what they call it, is what you pay. Like here in Canada, employers pay a certain amount per hour to the EI fund for every employee, and the employee themselves are deducted a certain amount every hour. So not only has the ratio in that mix changed over the last 30 years, it used to be like the employer paid 75% of the full contribution, workers only paid 25%. Now it's pretty much the other way around. And 30 years ago, they decided that this employment insurance fund that was this huge pile of money sitting there every year because things were going fairly well, and they were taking in more than they were paying out. So the government of the day decided that, you know what, that's general revenue now. It just goes into the pile with all our other money, because we're the government anyway. So if there's a big run on people collecting the benefits, we'll just pay it out. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. And of course, that money just went into the fucking black hole. And contributions have been going up and up and up, and people get less and less back, and the government's just using it as another revenue source that is legislated. You have to pay it. So it's a fucking tax now, not a benefit.
Wow.
So how American is that in the long run?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are slowly coming this way, but I mean, it's still, well, I guess you do kind of have militarized police, but not like here.
No.
You guys, you know, there's other things that your money's still going to. That I mean, you guys still have medical. You have different. You have a lot of benefits we don't have. It's just, it's where your taxes go. I mean, if you're going to pay taxes, I want them to go to services. Like today, I tweeted, why don't we have a free bus? We pay these taxes, take the money from the police, take it from the military, give the people free buses. They can run free during the pandemic. They can run free the rest of the year. Why should people have to pay to get somewhere? It doesn't make sense. We pay taxes. We should be able to get where we need to go for free.
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, there are places in other parts of the world where that's the reality. But
I mean, would it really destroy the community if the police had 3 or 4 less tanks every year and people have free busing, you know? A couple less drones, a couple less helicopters, a couple less tanks, and then everyone's got some free transportation. Seems like a fair trade-off, and it seems like it's a good deal, you know?
Well, again, it's context. Because, you know, if you want to start telling the public that, you know, when more people make a living wage and more people don't fear getting sick because it'll bankrupt them for the rest of their lives, you find that people are generally have a better fucking attitude and there's less crime. So, I mean, you know, then, well, wait a minute. We're the police. We want our budgets to go up. We can't talk about that because we make more people turn to crime. So we need more police. So we'll just keep going down this road. We won't try that other road where the lights are on.
Yeah.
You know, again, like you said at the start, man, it's all about context. And people just don't seem to give a fuck about context. They just want that 30-second cycle.
Yeah. Did you hear?
I don't know what to do about that. And you better still be there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you hear the the news in the last 2 days. I think I tweeted one, and then there was Oklahoma City. That was hilarious. But the one here, a cop, they murdered somebody yesterday in Culver City Police Department. Murdered a dude that had a knife. They couldn't use less lethal anything. They said they did, supposedly. Where's the body cam footage, Culver City Police Department? So they murdered this dude in a parking garage because he had a knife. But during the time when the trigger-happy cops started shooting him, they shot one of their own cops in the leg. Not that that was funny. I mean, they murdered the dude, but at least the cop had to suffer too. So maybe next time they'll think, maybe there's another way, because last time we shot the homie over here, our Nazi friend, so maybe we'll try something less lethal than just shooting them with. I mean, they have all the time in the world. I see cops sitting doing nothing all day. Why don't they back up? He had a knife. How much damage is he going to do? They have shields. They have batons. They have tasers. They have pepper spray. They have pepper balls. They have beanbag rounds. They have all kinds of stuff, man.
They have LRADs.
They have everything, but they go straight to the gun.
Yeah.
Dude, I tell you, how many videos have I seen of cops in other countries taking out someone with a knife with their batons? That dude might have a broken arm in a couple of them I've seen. He might have broken fingers and be smashed up and bashed up, but he's not dead. All those will heal and he go to jail, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. Now here's the second story. This happened in Oklahoma City. These two cops I guess this black teenager, I think he was 15 years old or 16 years old maybe. So he's a teenager, and he goes into the cell phone store. He buys a cell phone legitimately. He comes out with the cell phone, and for some reason, oddly enough, to the cops, the cell phone looked like a gun. Or somebody said the cell phone was a gun.
Karen did.
Somehow the cops got called. I don't remember. I got to reread the story again, but it's on my Twitter timeline, and you can just look up Oklahoma City cops shoot, each other. So here's the thing. The kid's in the middle. He comes out. There's two cops with their weapons drawn on him. He has his phone. He said so he took off running to try to get away, and he comes out the other side. The cops are on both sides of him with their guns aimed out and just start letting loose. I guess he hit the ground. Somehow they missed him, luckily, and they all hit each other. So two cops shot each other trying to shoot an innocent teenage black kid. I think that's beautiful irony. Oh man, and the kid's cool. He's okay. You know what I mean?
Well,
he's probably traumatized, but he's okay. I love these stories.
here's a tactical critique on that.
Yeah, I know.
So these are the people who are getting more and more armor and more weapons beyond their need every year. And these two fucking yahoos can't comprehend what a crossfire is. Unbelievable.
Isn't that basic like military training 101? Like the first thing you learn.
I'll tell you what, in Canada, if you take hunter training before you get into hunting, they teach you crossfire in hunter training. And you usually take that when you're in middle school.
Yeah,
so,
that's crazy. You guys don't have guns like we do, and you have middle school training for guns. We have no training for guns, and they just hand them to us like candy. Here's more. Take more.
Yeah, I mean, it's about hunting altogether, and that includes fishing, and it kind of gives kids an introduction to stuff like taxidermy and other stuff like that, other things they may not have thought of, because these are always dying industries. So if they can get 1%, then they're happy. But that was something that a government used to provide. Taxes paid for that. I imagine.
Taxes paid for taxidermy.
So again, that's one of the things we just don't have money for anymore. You got to be kidding. We have to cut the tax rate of some corporation somewhere.
I mean, that's still like, I mean, hunting is better to teach kids than what they do here in high schools. They got army recruiters and police recruiters up in there. They got these kids that are explorers, and they drive around with cops and act like little bootlickers. Then they got the I think it's ROTC. I don't know what it is. It's some army thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they got that all in there. Join the army, join the army, join the army. Come on, come on, come on. It's crazy. That should be illegal. I've said that many, many times, but that should be illegal. Keep your government propaganda crap out of the schools.
Well, I think it's only a matter of time until there's a serious constitutional beef brought up with those guys somewhere.
Hey, Glenn, I have a dilemma.
What?
Well, people are protesting sports right now because of the kneeling during the anthem. And when we were protesting sports for other reasons, for good reasons, that was good because I don't watch them. But now I feel like I'm protesting with the bad people. Do I need to start watching sports? Because I just can't do it. I'll gouge my eyes out.
No, you don't have to. And as far as baseball goes, I wouldn't be too worried. If they keep going the way they are, they're going to be shut down in another week.
Cool.
Yeah. That's a whole nother topic. Some of these stories about athletes already that are supposed to be kept inside bubbles.
Yeah, they're out there in huge parties and stuff, and then they go back and play the game, or what's happening with that? I mean, I don't even want to get into it, but yeah, just real quick, briefly.
No, the one that sticks in my mind is in Atlanta. 4 basketball players left the bubble and went to a strip club, and then came back.
Are strip clubs allowed to be open? I thought everything was closed, especially thing where people are close to each other.
It's Atlanta, man.
I see. It's probably an underground kind of thing or something.
Who knows? But whatever, I mean, these guys are fucking millionaires getting paid to bounce a ball, and they just can't take this seriously. It's beneath them apparently. I don't know, man. And that just puts such a shitty fucking brand on their entire product, and it's their own fault. So
these people don't care. They don't care. They know, they're gonna talk crap and then the big game, some big game. Oh, we gotta watch it. That's what happened with what we're protesting. I think it was the NFL. What happened? I don't remember. It was something pretty big. Maybe it was that. It was something pretty big, and we were protesting. Don't watch it. And I don't watch it, so it's easy for me to say I'm protesting that because I don't watch it normally. And it was I don't know what it was, a Super Bowl or something. And all these people were like, "Oh, I'll just watch it and I won't do this or that." Then all of a sudden after that, everybody's watching it again. It's just dumb, man. It's like, stick with something or don't. Don't say it when it's popular and then do it. It's just it's like follow through.
Well, you're asking a lot of people to make a wholesale lifestyle change then.
But it's not. I mean, it's entertainment.
Well, it's supposed to be entertainment.
There's places I don't shop and things I don't do and things that I might even like that I don't do or buy because it funds the wrong thing, I mean, really wrong, in my opinion. Everything funds the wrong thing now because it's a sick society. Hey, my computer updates is 71%, just letting you know.
Wow. It's fucking flying now.
Yeah.
I think it was only at 8% in the first 15 minutes, so...
Yeah, for anyone just tuning in, because that's how this works. Yeah, my computer I restarted earlier because having an issue with the audio, and it went into an update. And what was that like? About 40 something minutes ago, and now it's at 71%. So we had to switch computers. That's why we started late. Super late. We were like 30 minutes late today.
Late, even late for us.
Yeah. So let me ask you this while we kind of secretly plug the YouTube channel. Did you see the wacky Jesus Trump supporters at the federal building videos?
What is with those people, man?
Dude, they were there to start trouble. That preacher, he was
Whoa.
sick. There was 2 or 3 of them, man. I think a lot of them were just drug addicts, and unfortunately, they were mentally ill and being taken advantage of, being controlled. But there was a couple. There was the preacher, his bodyguard, quote unquote, the one that was pushing the women to the ground,
Yeah.
and one other dude. He looked like a little old school essay. But those 3, they were slick. They be doing all the Jesus and dancing and looking like they're having spasms and stuff.
Yeah.
And as they're doing that, they're pushing, they're moving forward into where we don't want them. They're trying, like, it's like, oh, I can't control it. And all their people come. I started saying, watch what he's doing. And he looked me right in my eye with like a evil, like a little smirk before he do stuff. Because I told him, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's dirty. He's dirty. I think these people are giving him a lot of their worldly possessions and money.
Wow.
I just had this feeling that's some kind of cult. He's on Twitter. This great dude. Everyone should follow him. I just got to find what his Twitter handle is. Michael. Give me 1 second. He like basically doxed him from a video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's michaelkohlhaas.org, but the Twitter is at DOTKOHLHAAS. That's at DOTKOHLHAAS. Follow him. He always has, like, especially in the LA area, if you're in the LA area, he's always putting up brilliant information. He talks about where sweeps are going to be and things happening like that. Yeah, that's a good account to follow, just for really useful information about things going on in the city. And if you're in another city, not LA, I'm sure the same things apply there, and he could probably give you ideas about what you should be looking into. But yeah, he doxed these cats. He didn't dox them like, here's their address. He was like, here's the guy's Twitter account. His name's Reverend Dr. Pastor Music or something with a Z and a K, Music. And,
yeah.
And his church, because someone shot a video where you get a close-up of the woman's microphone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm saying he didn't dox him. He just kind of said, this is the group. If I'm saying it wrong, I don't want everyone mad at me. He didn't put their numbers, and he didn't put anything that wasn't public information listed on their church and, personal
He connected
websites.
the dots.
Yeah, so my bad. I don't want to get anyone, misrepresented. No, he just put out like, this is who they are. This is who their organization is. But they were crazy, dude. It was crazy. Like, I've seen a lot of stuff. I've been into it with Nazis. I've been into it with Trump supporters that claim they're not Nazis, but you should listen to the Nazis because they have some great ideas, kind of people. Black
Fine
Trump,
people on both sides.
I've seen Mexican cats and women standing out with the NSM, the swastika flying Nazis before Trump even. I've seen black cats out with the Nazis, talking about it's okay to be white and all kinds of crazy stuff. Since Trump, it's like really weird. But yeah, I mean, I've seen really, really weird stuff out there. I've seen religious people doing some, standing up and preaching, you're going to burn in hell. But these cats was a whole nother bag. They were just like so mind controlled and crazy, and they were just dancing around and screaming random stuff, and they were tweaking. Like, a couple of them were like totally on drugs. They said it was the Holy Spirit, but here in the streets we call it tweakers and speed.
It sounds to me like they're using some of the stuff from the Caribbean.
No, it's
For
just really, it's how they do it on those like really way out kind of churches out here. They do it a lot. It's more common than you think. But these cats were just cultish with it. They took it to the
well,
extremes. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, for sure. I
But they
mean,
were.
there's
I didn't know. I mean, I started screaming, "Screw Trump" and all this. A couple of them got mad, and most of them like, "We're not here. We're here for Jesus, not Trump." But then I
well,
went
same
on.
thing.
Well, yeah, exactly. I went to their other videos down on their when dude put out their Twitters. I read through their accounts. Yeah, and they got prayer things with all these MAGA hats, and he's talking about Black Lives Matter needs to go back to Africa. If you don't love America, go back to Africa. I'm like, well, there's a black preacher, quote unquote
Wow,
preacher. I'm not saying he's whatever. They're all cults. So anyway, yeah. So it was just like, yeah, he's totally.
out there.
I mean, you're looking at his gold watch and his gold necklace. Nobody else had that kind of stuff. He had all the expensive jewelry on. He was the one they were all protecting. He was the one that was leading. What he said goes. When we left, they were on the Fed property in a circle praying, and he was walking around in the middle of them like a general checking his soldiers.
Koresh.
Yeah. Jones. I hope not. Either way, that's those. Those people. Some of them were definitely mentally ill, and they had drug problems. And a dude like him probably is using that to his advantage. Um, it's terrible. But yeah, if you haven't seen the videos, to all the people listening, check them out on the People's Radio United YouTube channel. Subscribe to us there. I need like 600 more subscribers. And these videos are in 360, so you can flip around and look at everything, up,
Yeah.
down, side to side. You can, yeah. It's funny. You might see some cool things like a dude in a yellow shirt get dragged to the ground, or bottles getting thrown at people's heads, or um, just funny things like people's glasses getting flipped off their head and laughed at, or whatever. It's like
Normal, spontaneous crowd stuff.
it's fun things to do to the Trump supporters because they were there to wreak havoc. They were there to start trouble. They were there to push people and be aggressive. I tried to reason with one of them. I even said, "Look, man, whatever you're doing is cool. Whatever. Y'all, just the problem is, this is a protest we're doing here. There's 3 other corners. You can do your protest over there. All the cars will see you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I gave him a pound. I'm like, look, just go across the street, Y'all don't have masks on. You need to go across the street. Do your protest over there. I promise you these people will leave you alone. I'll personally guarantee it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But over here, y'all pushing people. You starting stuff. You're in the middle of a crowd of people that's here for something else. We can both do our thing. You take that side of the street. We take this side of the street. No. The media is here. This is here. That's here. We're where God wants us. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. It was just dumb.
See, I'm curious when they say this is where God wants us. I'd like to know if they're speaking to God's program assistant or God's
PR department.
PR agent or a PR supervisor. Like, what exactly level of auth are we going on here?
Well, let me explain something to you. For God, prayer is like Instagram. It sucks. And he has other people deal with it. They just kind of scroll through and be like, let's take this one. So they can't say we didn't take anyone. How are we going to answer? No. Sorry about Uncle Carl. He's dead.
Yeah, he's up here now. Everything's great. Next.
Let's answer a big one. Your car keys are on the table under the magazine. Yeah. Thank you. I answered your prayer. Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah. Fucking bizarre.
Those people they were bizarre. They were, I don't know, man. I've never seen anything that insane. it was just the definition of batshit crazy in the dictionary. You should see this day, these people. That dude had so much control over him. He had like
Yeah.
two were specifically bodyguards. The rest of them would protect them with their lives if they needed to. For Jesus, of course. It's really
Well, you
weird.
know. Yeah, but again, when society is in the shape it is right now, and I think the other factor that you have to think about to maybe recognize, because we're all in the middle of this shit. COVID is the biggest thing in my lifetime that can't be. I mean, there are things that are definitely laid at the feet of elected people, like Trump, the amount of deaths, etc., etc. But it's just something that is invisible, and there's no logic to it. And people have a hard time dealing with something that they can't even be wrong about because they can't even understand, how it's going to go. That makes some people react differently, more desperately, Like there have been people that have been broke or in jail or whatever, and they've dealt with it, but something like this scares the fucking shit out of them. Even if they don't know anybody who's caught it, but it's out there and they can't see it. And I don't think there's much talk about the psychological effects of this pandemic. I don't know why. Maybe because we don't want to open that can of fucking crazy, or is it just not being talked about?
Probably a mix. Man, it's just so much stuff. It's too much, man. It's just too much for so many people.
Yeah.
People's lives are going to be changed forever from this. A lot of people's lives. Like, take a whole nother turn from where they were heading.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
It's sad and it's tragic, man. And it's... I don't know. I was thinking about something when you were saying that earlier, but I took a big dab and now I can't remember what I was thinking. Isn't it funny how that works?
Yay, sponsors.
The sponsors are working. But yeah, it's just...
Endorsements abound.
I
I
just
don't
don't...
know.
I just don't
I just,
understand it. I just don't understand why they can't just... Like, this should be making us think more like, we're all in this together. The whole world has this pandemic. It's
that's just a slogan.
I'm saying, but it's something that really, as humans, we all are dealing with at the same time. It's rare. I mean, it's rare that that's the majority, of the people, like everybody. You might have a majority of the world struggling to pay bills, understand things like that, but this is everyone. Nobody's affected less than anyone else or more than anyone else. It's a virus. It just attacks whoever it gets it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't care if you're rich, doesn't care if you're poor, doesn't care if you're race, doesn't care about anything else. Now, obviously, rich people and different races will have a higher survival rate because of circumstances. But I'm saying at just the regular level, we all have to deal with the virus. Because if we all had the same resources, the virus would affect us all the same way.
Yep.
So why can't we say, hey, they've been fooling us. They're screwing us over with this virus. We're all humans. We're all in the same world. We're all here together. We all got to deal with this stuff. How about we get rid of them and we work together? You know what I mean? That just makes more sense. Like why do we have to say, oh, they're this nation and they're this nation and they're this nation and there's these borders? We just one world, one people. Let's do what we got to do to survive. All this garbage is stupid. A fascist was telling me I need to unite with fascists earlier on Twitter. I said I'll never unite with fascists, but that's what he said. Well, more people together against the government. But you're a fascist. You have all this pro-Trump stuff and crazy stuff on your, you know what I mean? Talking about how motivating it is and this and that. It's one of those quote-unquote anons with the Guy Fawkes mask that I doubt was ever around before, and if they were around before, they were one of those kind of anons.
Das Anon, right?
Yeah, but I don't recall seeing this person before, and it doesn't
Maybe
seem like anybody I know. So
maybe it's Ray.
oh, I'm sorry. That was an inside joke. That was an inside joke.
Yeah, I did say that. Yes, I did.
The people who know what you're talking about will know what you're talking about. Oh, man.
Well, I mean, the other thing I want to ask you is, do you think that the corporate media is going to stick to their same old framework as the COVID stories get crazier and more common? They're still going to report them completely different for people involved who are white and people who are anything but white. Do you think that's going to continue with?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse and worse, and because they're going to have politicians on their backs, and they're going to have their backers who are donors and lobbyists for these politicians wanting their people in office. You know what I mean? The people that are going to do their bidding. So yeah, it's going to get the MSNs or whatever are going to be more Biden this and that, and he can save it, and they're gonna turn it up in one way, and then you're gonna have the Fox and all them turning it the other way, like, oh, it's not so bad and this and that. We could all be working, and look at these people. There'll be two sides, but nobody's gonna show it the way it is and really get into the depth. I mean, where is the wall? They had a Vietnam War, and they have a wall. Wouldn't we have like 3 times that wall now with the dead people from this?
Yep.
We'd have like why don't they have these people like scrolling across CNN all day, like, names in this person, this date to this date they live, they like this and that, showing their faces. Why aren't all their little flags at half mast all day for this? I don't understand. It's like all these people are dead and they're like, oh but MS-13 stabbed somebody, terrorists, we gotta go crazy, we gotta shut this down, we gotta fight. It's just, It's so insane, dude.
See, I think you just said what the big difference is. One, you can put a flag in the background. The other one, you can't.
You can.
Well, not as far as they're concerned.
These were civilians in the United States who died.
And that's a bad thing, so don't put the flag there.
They died fighting COVID for this country. I mean, something. I don't know. I'm just saying, how they twist everything. How come they don't make this about the people? You start showing that, and you know what you do? In the corner, you be like, wear a mask. Social distance. Have the little things. Well, this is just scrolling up and down. They should just having clipped to their family members or some of them talking about how great they were and what they're trying to do, but COVID got them. Things. They would do that with any other situation. Any other situation, they'd be doing that. They'd be talking about, how these people. You got the right-wing media talking about how bad these cops that killed dude have it. They killed an unarmed man, needle on his neck, talking crap for all those minutes, and these people still say, you know what I mean? He's being treated so unfairly. Those are the fascists I will never side with on anything. I'll never work with them. I'll never tolerate them.
Well, that's just it. It never goes away. People have to recognize it and understand it for the threat it is. And remember that fascism can show up in any other type of government. We've seen proof
Yeah.
of it. So,
Authoritarianism, fascism,
yeah.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're socialist, communist, capitalist. Those two things can be infested and start growing. And once they get a third of the people behind them, all hell starts to break loose.
And that's because of the old standard that 1/3 of people will just sit on their ass and watch.
Yep. It's like the signs they always say, silence is complicit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. People are getting evicted now, man. People are becoming homeless. They're doing nothing about this.
Yeah, this is
It's getting
not
really,
good.
really bad here, man. And they're saying no, crime rates are going up because they don't want. The reason they want the police is because they know what's about to happen, man.
Yeah.
All these people who hate us now and this and that, they're gonna be joining with us in the streets, secretly pretending they wasn't fascist before, because now it personally affects them. And
Yep.
they're so greedy, they're so selfish. That's all they care about is only once it personally affects them.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, but it's useful. Unfortunately, it's happening. And I predicted this long before the pandemic ever happened. I said once it's bad enough where the majority of people are personally affected by some kind of something, that's when they're going to hit the streets and we're going to get a revolution. I didn't know it was going to be a pandemic. I knew something was going to happen. Something's always going to happen somewhere.
Well, this is what I was talking about when I was talking about the openness of the class war instead of the race war. And
Well, it's kind of, this is the thing. You have the class war. This is what I was saying earlier. I think I probably didn't say it right. The whole thing is a class war that encompasses everything, right? But within that class war, you also have the race war.
Yep.
And that's because they're like, oh, you might be the same class, but you get treated special and you have more power financially and economically than these other races, or you have less, depending on how you're born. And that's the thing. So you have a race war within a class war. So there's always the racist crap, all the way up to the top, all the way down to the bottom. But at the same time, surrounding that, you have the class war. So you can look down on people who live in a tent because you live in the projects. And if you live in a studio apartment, you can look down on those scum people living in the projects. On Section 8, how dare them, because you work for McDonald's. And then if you live in a 2-bedroom apartment, then you can look down on the person in the single and say, hey, those people suck. How do they live like that? And then if you live in you live in a nice house with a big yard, you can look down on the 2-bedroom apartment people. Haha, you don't even own anything. You suck. It's just how they keep it going. And usually, most of the time, people with less economic, quote unquote, economic value are not white or in the same, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. But that's just it. That's what's really changed in the last 10 years. The people who are scraping the poverty line, the percentages are getting whiter all the time.
Like I said,
for the longest time, they didn't let that happen.
Like I said, when it affects a selfish person is when they'll get out in the streets.
Well,
And then you also my computer was done. It just updated and restarted. So but you also have a lot less racist jerks because there's an internet and people get out more and people are more educated than they used to be. So there's not as many blatant racists as there used to be. So you have a ton of white people. You always had white people out protesting with black people or Native people or Latino people or whoever. You know what I mean? You've always had white people protesting. You have all people protesting everything. But I think you talked about this a few weeks ago, Glenn. The demographics are changing. Now, when you have these huge protests, you got a lot more white people out there, younger white people that aren't with the stuff. They aren't with it. They're like, yo, that stuff was just wrong, and we're not going to put up with it. And they're outnumbering, obviously, they're outnumbering the racists. The racists are screaming really loud. You know, they call themselves a silent minority, but really they're the loudmouth minority. They're just always loud, 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 loud.
Yeah.
So we got to be louder than them, which is louder than a bomb. We got to, like, shut them down. It's ridiculous, man.
Well, I mean, that's just like that old typecast that somebody who speaks a different language, you have to speak louder.
Yeah, what does that do? It doesn't do anything. I don't understand why people do that.
Oh man, that's just something that is so American to people who are not American. Like that is something. If you had a multiple choice, and it said you meet this tourist and this is what they do, because you don't speak their language, so they speak it to you louder. Where do you think this tourist is likely from? And I guarantee that the U.S. would be the overwhelming winner in a Canadian poll.
Yeah, like, oh, they didn't understand what I said. Let me yell so they can understand English. I don't get it. Like, how's that? It doesn't even make sense. But yeah, it's done so much. It's stereotypical even because I've seen people do that so much. It's just silly Americans.
Well, I mean, I asked you about how you think the media coverage is going to separate, because I saw something this week that didn't really surprise me, but I just read it and I was just amazed at not only is this a formula to make news now, but it's just so ridiculous. Like, this is almost like The Onion, but it's not. This is from the Washington Post, and this involves an incident in Bethlehem Township, Pennsylvania. So, pretty fucking white bread part of the country. And this is from a couple days ago. And the headline is, "Not Handling the Pandemic Well. Man fires at officers with AK-47.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
After refusing to wear a mask." Okay, so, I mean, we're in Bethlehem Township, and here's the dude. When a cigar shop clerk told Adam Zaborowski that he had to wear a mask in the shop, the 35-year-old angrily refused. Instead, he grabbed two stogies, stormed outside, and then pulled a handgun and shot at the clerk. The next day, cornered near his home, Zaborowski allegedly fired at police with an AK-47, sparking a wild shootout with at least 7 officers that ended with him shot multiple times and under arrest. Okay, let's pause here, shall we? Pissed off white guy won't wear a mask, shoots at a poor motherfucker behind a counter. Cops go to his home, guy brings out an assault weapon, and he gets shot multiple times by white police. He's not dead, and he's under arrest. Okay, sounds, if you want to be dark, Sounds pretty much standard so far, right?
I think it's
But
one of two things. I don't know which one the cops want to admit to. Are they really bad at aiming, or do they give preference to the white dude and they're not trying to make a lethal shot?
yeah, those are both valid questions. But this is where it takes a turn. The case is the latest violent incident tied to arguments over mandatory mask orders. But Zaborowski's reaction was driven by his own intense difficulty with the pandemic. His attorney claimed. Before the
Yeah,
shootout, Before the shootout, Zaborowski had lost his job and had also recently lost custody of his child. He just wasn't dealing well with the loss of his job, the loss of his child, just not handling the pandemic well, his
that
lawyer John Waldron
that's
said.
that's how they do it, man. Every time a dude can be a mass shooter, a white dude, he goes in, they're gonna buy him cheeseburgers and talk about how rough his childhood was, and what a great kid. Everybody in his neighborhood thought he was great. They're all so shocked. A black dude with the perfect record, or close, a real good person, everything, gets shot by the police, unarmed, did nothing wrong, and all of a sudden he smoked weed, and he got
Yep,
expelled from school. Back, there's probably some 40-year-old dude. They're talking about things in high school and what, bringing up everything.
yep,
You can't, it's a totally different world. I remember during Op KKK. Do you remember that way back?
yep.
Op KKK. For those that don't know, it was Op Anonymous was doing, where they were doxing KKK members and trolling them and clowning them and wreaking havoc among them and just really having fun with some of these Klan members. And then there was an article and a video that came out from a big, I don't remember who it was. It was some big news. I can't remember right now. It was a long time ago. Where they were talking, they were showing the mother with these two kids. They had the kids' faces blurred, and these kids were in all. Her whole Facebook page was filled with these kids wearing clown outfits. They thought it was so cute till they got put public. And all of a sudden, she's like, "They put my family in danger. They attacked us just for our way of life." And these are Klan members. They're burning crosses on people's lawns. God knows what else they're doing. They had the full Klan robes. They weren't like just were Klan members. You know what I mean? They were
Yeah.
full-fledged KKK members.
They're in
Proud of
choir.
them. They, picture after picture after picture at Klan rallies with the hoods on and off with their children, their families. And we the ones endangering their families. You gonna dress your kids up in Klan outfits and think they're gonna be safe? Is that how does that keep anyone safe? Because that's the first thing I want to attack. If I walked outside right now and there was a dude in a Klan outfit, or whoever walking down the street, it's not going to end nice. I don't care if it's a joke. I'm not asking no questions. I'm just mobbing over there and swinging. It's over. And if I got a weapon, I'm using that. I don't even care. I don't care who comes. I don't care. The police won't be there in time. Straight up. There's no questions asked. Like, if you wearing that, it's on. You're a horrible
And
person. You're the worst of the worst. You're garbage.
I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot to see through that. And, like, yeah, you're not the fucking victim, shut up. But just the fact that that will be reported, somebody will put that out. That says enough right there. Because if it was a person of color and they tried to pull the same sort of, like if some MS-13 dude with tats on his fucking forehead came out and said, the same type of thing,
Anonymous is
or,
doxing my whole hood. Oh no.
yeah, it's our way of life, like, leave us alone. Do you think it would be okay? Or, because it's the same goddamn thing in many ways,
I don't think so.
No, but I mean, how they're perceived,
Oh,
not how
okay.
they are,
Yeah.
but how they're perceived.
I mean, no gang is good, but they were created because of bad
The U.S.
situations.
Yeah.
Oh, especially yes, yeah, MS, big time, big time. Um, yeah, it's so insane, dude, how they twist things around like that.
Well, that's a good thing to say because I just want to get back to this article. So, I mean, his lawyer said he's just not handling the pandemic well. And then he says those factors don't justify his violent conduct. Well, then what are you doing here?
He's a lawyer. That's his job, is to throw doubt and sympathy. And he's gonna have to deal with the jury. He's trying to take the jury pool already.
I think he was getting stretched too tight.
Yeah, and who else?
Really,
And who else isn't stretched too tight?
really.
You know,
I bet.
George Floyd's mother died, man. George Floyd, you know, he's had a lot of rough stuff going on, you know. So yeah, maybe he was stretched too thin. Why did he get a knee in his back and get murdered? Well, this guy's shooting up everything in the neighborhood and attacking cops with an AK and gets taken to jail. He gets to live. I don't get that. Look at Breonna Taylor.
Yep.
She was sleeping in her house. Sleeping in her house. They kick in the door and murder her for sleeping in her house because they had the wrong house. Oops.
Yep.
And yeah, come on, man.
See, now, the common thing as well with this article is, okay, we get this picture drawn for us, and then we get his lawyer who basically says, yeah, he's guilty, but it's been a shitty year,
The
pretty
poor
much.
guy.
And don't forget, he's white, everybody. Don't forget. So then you go further into the article, and it says Zaborowski's alleged rampage, so I guess maybe he didn't do it after all, started Friday morning at Cigars International in Bethlehem Township, where he adamantly argued he didn't have to wear a mask, even after a clerk offered to serve him curbside. It's crazy, said Tom Gallagher, who was shopping in the store at the time. It's the mask. The guy was obviously anti-mask. After Zaborowski walked out without paying for his cigars, police say he fired his gun once in the air and twice at a clerk who confronted him outside. Multiple customers were also sitting outside the shop in the direction he fired. The next morning, like I'm sure everybody at the cigar store waited until midnight to phone this in. So the cops went to his house the next morning. Police and state troopers were waiting to arrest him outside his home in Slatington, Pennsylvania, when he hopped in a truck and drove off. So he's got two levels of law enforcement staking out his house, but yet he gets in a truck and drives off.
Yeah, you know, weren't they all surrounding it, knocking on the door, screaming police like they do anybody else?
Yeah, where's the battering ram? What's the deal? So when they stopped him nearby, he jumped out of the vehicle and started firing at police with an AK-47 and a semi-automatic handgun. Here's a quote from the state troopers in a news release. Both the Slatington borough officer and state troopers, plural, returned fire and struck Zaborowski. Now here it is. Zaborowski was hit in the buttocks and leg and is expected to recover. So there's your answer, Tim. It was non-lethal fire, obviously.
Or they're a bad aim. I'm with you on the non-lethal, but I'm saying they have to admit to one of those two things.
But it said he was shot multiple times, and if they're all in the same area, these guys can aim.
Yeah.
These guys can aim. So there you go.
I mean, that I don't know. I still would advise against shooting somebody in the leg if they had a knife. This guy had a gun. He had an AK.
Yeah. And then his lawyer comes back with one more, which is a thank you to the cops. He says, The fact that he got shot with non-life-threatening injuries when he had an AK-47 and another handgun, Adam is very fortunate he ended up the way he did. That's what his lawyer said in the fucking press.
Yeah.
That should not be printed in the newspaper. It never used to be when we had journalists. He is now charged with 22 counts, including attempted homicide, aggravated assault, and robbery, being held on $1 million bail.
So $100,000 gets him out.
Yep.
Wow. So
the NRA get him out yet, or what?
no, someone's gonna put up a house or something to get him out. But here's the thing. I don't know anything else on this subject because it's like we know what's up. We've seen it. We've talked about it before. It's so double-sided, double standards when all this stuff happens, man. It's
I'm just curious.
Blatantly.
Well, I'm just curious if they're going to be able to keep it this bland when this keeps happening and people actually start dying. Because, there's already been a few people just working at fucking retail outlets that have been killed over masking. So, it's going to keep happening. And if they can keep glossing it over like this, I don't know if this is just the concept of people flipping out or the concept of white people flipping out. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish with this article. But, like I said, I think it's pretty funny how they frame it. And it's just, a guy's been having a shitty run this year. Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah, if that doesn't work, they'll go with mental illness.
Why don't they do a survey of how many African American men are in jail and if it's affected the custody of their child? Yeah. Do you talk about this fucking guy? Give me a break. That's just an obscene fucking comparison to me. And that's from the Washington Post.
Those poor white people that do crimes. What are they going to do? That's basically what it is.
Man.
Let's end this show on a good note. There's happy news too, right?
Okay, I've heard about it.
What's happening supposedly on January 24th, 2021?
No.
According to the BOP website, Jeremy Hammond will be released from prison.
All right.
So, January 24th, 2021, I hope that sticks or moves up closer to, now. It won't, but I'm hoping at least it stays that date.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best we can hope for. We've been here before.
Yeah, you should read the comments on there. Some of them are funny. Tragically funny. Like you have people that Anonymous and Guy Fawkes Mask asking, who is Jeremy Hammond?
Oh, God. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope this is real. Like I hope they nothing happens to hinder this. It's just under 5 months away.
Well, we haven't seen any more fucking video from inside, so I imagine we probably won't then, and that would go a long way towards not extending that date, I bet.
Yeah, he's a writer. He don't play. Oh,
I know.
I saw that video and I was like, oh, don't release anything to get you longer. Release it once you get out. Then you can say anything you want. You don't want to get, but like you said, he's a writer. He's going to do what he want to do and get the message to the people no matter what. I can't. I'm glad that's going to happen. He doesn't deserve to be in there. He's a political prisoner.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, and other news, we're not going to end on a happy note after all. I was talking to Nolan and Kevin Cooper is in, in San Quentin. A lot of people have that COVID in there. So I'm not sure if he has it or he's around people that have it or something. I got to ask Nolan again, but it's a dangerous situation.
Yep.
I'm sure it is for Jeremy too. But Kevin was just expressing his concern. I think maybe, where are you going to go? Did you see where the Ware prison? Was it Ware County Prison?
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah, they had like a riot jumped off in there, and they started having guards hostage. They got all the weapons. They took people hostages and took them down. They took it over. I don't know. I just stopped seeing about it. They're releasing videos from the inside, but they're really garbage quality.
Interesting.
It was a big uprising, though.
No, I haven't really heard anything about that. Gee, what a surprise, huh?
Let me look. I retweeted some of the stuff that was going on. People were releasing it through there. I don't know how to use Instagram that good to find stuff like that yet. So, Instagram's kind of a weird thing, man. Here, let's see. 2 days ago. We'll look under latest. 48 seconds, Rick. Oh no, what is this? Yeah, I haven't seen anything else. Like the last I heard, they had taken it over, and then somehow they got it back under control. So yeah, I can't see any news about it as I'm looking right now. That wasn't from like a day or two ago. But yeah, keep an eye on that. Ware Prison, Ware.
Okay.
That's how you do it, though. Do it big. Take over that thing. Try to get the people free or at least safe. Draw attention. I know, locking you in a cage, treating you like an animal, and most of the people, they're there for being poor. If you really want to get down to the nitty-gritty of it. So yeah, poor people need to rise up. We have the biggest prison population on the planet. And these people are forced to work for slave wages or,
or nothing.
Or nothing. Well, that's a slave wage. It's nothing. I was going to say slave wages are just above slave wages. In some cases, they're risking their lives, like fire camps and stuff.
Yeah.
And when they get out, they can't even do that work. They won't hire them as firefighters.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Yeah, it's a bunch of BS, and it's all there for ultra-rich corporations and people to profit and get cheap labor here in the U.S. So, yeah, we got to abolish these prisons. These people should rise up, and we should help them however we can.
Okay, I got one more question for you. What do you think of District Attorney Jackie Lacey?
She's a horrible person. Fuck her, and I hope that she drops dead or something. Why? What happened with Jackie Lacey now?
Well, there was a pretty big protest right outside her house not too long ago, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was one at Garcetti's house too.
Yeah, so hers too.
Yeah.
And apparently her husband opened the door and pointed a weapon at people.
That protesters protesting outside his house. There's video of him coming out with the gun acting a fool.
Well, the California Attorney General, Xavier Becerra, has filed charges against Jackie Lacey's husband.
Oh, really? When did this happen?
Today.
Nice.
It's not too serious. He's got 3 misdemeanor counts of assault with a firearm. So, it ain't much.
But that's what a lot of people would get. If they're in their
So,
house and they pull a gun on somebody, and they can say, "Oh, they can say, oh, we feared for our lives or whatever." You know how this is gonna go, man.
but just, do you think that the Attorney General did it because they just can't let it slide, or are they trying to say something in the upcoming election for DA of Los Angeles?
I don't know. I don't know. Politics is weird, and I can't guess on that. I just know, like, what was he thinking? People are protesting. I'm gonna go to the door with a gun and aim it and wiggle it around in their faces while yelling. Like, was he planning on shooting a protester?
He just scared.
What's a gun gonna do? It's just gonna make the situation worse.
But he doesn't have the balls to even open the door without it, most likely.
Why didn't he open the door?
Well, yeah, we're back to square one
I mean,
now.
didn't Garcetti like take off in a car to get away from it?
Oh, yeah, he fucked right off.
You know,
And he still had a whole fucking division of LAPD out in front of his house, and he wasn't even there, for Christ's sake.
man. You know what's odd? I pay his salary, and I pay the LAPD salary. We all do.
Ye-
I mean, not you.
Yep. Yep.
but all the people who live here.
Yep.
But yet, they've never been in front of my house protecting me from anything. In fact, when Nazis and Klansmen line up with swastikas, they protect them over me. Never
Yep.
have they ever protected me. I don't get it. What's wrong with that? Man.
Yeah, seems to be some paradox there somewhere.
Yeah, like, why are we paying to have them protect somebody's house?
Who fucks you over?
Exactly. I
America,
bet you
fuck
if
yeah.
I bet you if he just really took a big chunk from their salary, like cut it in half or cut it and give him a quarter of it, or took it all, they wouldn't protect his house anymore.
They'd be the ones outside it.
Oh, I protect his house then. No, let them get each other. That's the whole game, right?
But,
That's what they try to do with us.
that says a lot. And this is a problem that I think is uniquely American in nature. The power of quote-unquote police unions.
Yeah.
It is out of control, man.
Yes.
It's like the fucking mob. How is it any different?
Someone on Twitter was trying to say, like, if you're against police unions but pro-union, you're a hypocrite. They obviously can't see the difference. No other union supports murder constantly, time and time again. Brutality and murder, we're going to support it. No other union does that. Law enforcement unions do that. That's the only unions that do that.
Yep.
What, do you think the carpenters union is going to be like, yeah, if you nail a couple people through the skull and they happen to die, we'll stand up for you. Don't worry. Wink, wink.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
Come on, man. The electrician union going to be like, yo, if you create an electric chair and put a couple people in it, we'll stand up for you. Don't worry, we got your back. It's just insane, man. The police union, though, they can murder people, and they always, without fail, stand up for the police. These police murder unarmed people regularly. Ezel Ford, Brendan Glenn. And then a cop touches a dead woman's breast and gets immediately fired, no questions asked. How dare you? You can murder people.
Maybe if he would have shot the corpse first, it would have been okay. Or
yeah, I'm saying you can make a dead person, but you can't touch their corpse if you're a cop.
oh, I see. Yeah, well,
I mean,
that's
no, I'm
pretty.
saying anyone should be fired for doing that, but I'm saying
Yeah.
you should fire murderers first. That's my point.
Well,
Like
you should
like like
prosecute murderers first.
what do they call it? Desecrating the dead is lower on my crime scale than murder is. Like
Yes.
if it was me, I'd rather you desecrate me while I'm dead than murder me. Unfortunately, what if both happens and it really sucks for me, right? I'm just saying, think we should have priorities. Cops murder unarmed people, no questions asked. You're fired. You're got a case coming against you. Cop touches a dead woman's breast. You're fired. You may have a case coming against you. But murder definitely should be the first thing to fire somebody for. Brutality, beating somebody.
Well, I think another issue is that if it wasn't that the American working public was so ignorant of Union history and stuff like that, because what I find works is telling people that, so do you think, for instance, any other trade would be allowed to plot to work, to do their job, and they kill people, and they'd be allowed to keep doing it? Like, and, that's
And
what
then become manager or supervisor or chief of police. You know what I mean? After they murdered a bunch of people.
Yeah, like in my job, if I electrocute a whole crew of painters, I don't get promoted to superintendent. Let's put it that way.
If you had a good union, you would, see?
But that's not a union. That's a family.
Yeah, mafia family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the mob. It's fucking scary, man. And the thing is, they have real political power. And they're not afraid to use it, obviously. Like, people used to talk about Jimmy Hoffa and the Teamsters. Pfft, they're pussycats compared to these police unions.
I like Teamsters. They're funny. They get what they want, and they don't do anything that they're not supposed to do, man. They won't work a second longer. They make sure they get their breaks on time. I work with Teamsters sometimes. I mean, it's a powerful union, and these people got benefits. They get paid a lot, and they have rights, and that's a great thing. But what they don't have the right to do is murder people and have the union back them.
Anymore.
Anymore. There you go.
Yeah, see, that's the difference. And look what happened there.
But even there, they weren't doing it with our tax dollars.
That's true.
They were doing it with union dues,
Yeah. It was still a misuse, but not on the epic scale of quote-unquote government.
Exactly. So, man, this was a nice rant/tangent show.
It's the new standard.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I mean, eventually we'll have to put some topics together, but not now, We can always blame coronavirus.
Yes. I think we could probably, do a quick search and just change some key words, and we could come up with a mission statement that sounds like a couple other thousand you've already seen already.
Yeah. You know what, Glenn? Do you know what I'm going to say that we should do soon?
What?
A show about the 14 tenets of fascism. I say that like every show. We really need to do it. So you know what? Let's get together this week and talk about if we can do it and when if we can.
All right.
If that's cool. See, I said it live on the air, so now they'd be like, yeah, you got to stop bitching about that. And Glenn has to finally just say, yeah, let's do it. See how I threw it into being your fault all of a sudden?
Well, that's yet to be determined, shall we say. But, I mean, the first impression usually gets the headline. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So cool. Anything else you want to say before we go?
Meteor Strike 2020.
There you go, Meteor Strike 2020. And yeah, I'm live streaming on Instagram now. It's the same as my Twitter handle at BestBuds, at TimBestBuds. So if you have an Instagram account, follow me there until I can finally get 1,000 YouTube subscribers. Meteor Strike 2020. There you go in the chat. But yeah, that's where I'm going to be live streaming everything now, from encounters with pigs to protests. So that's the spot. And also subscribe to People's Radio United on YouTube, because once I get 1,000 subscribers, I can stream there, and it's way better because I can stream normal with regular cameras and stuff. I don't have to hold my phone upright and get that letter I shaped line in the middle of the screen. So cool. So thanks to all our billions of 4 listeners or 5 listeners, and the Pope. And thank you, Canadian Glenn.
Yo.
And we'll be back next week, maybe. Probably. For sure. Maybe.
Around 5.
Yeah. I'm going to play us out with the cool, groovy music, and then we're gone. See, there it is. Now we're leaving. Bye.
All right. What do you mean? Oh. Well, all right, but I mean, I don't know what you really mean, though. I mean, all 14 points in one show? Well, it'd have to be pretty much one example for every one, Well, I mean, once you take a look at the 14, there's always one that's louder than the others at that point in time. So, I mean, you could always go with the whatever's hot fascism fucking greatest hits. That might be an easier way to go about it, because then it's just the ones that we recognize, and then might be easier